So brushed versus the brushless.
Welcome back to the Shop Mini RC, everybody. Today we got something to check out. Very cool looking thing. We actually have two of these guys. They're called Rapid. That's the brand here, Rapid Pro. Yeah, we're going to check these out. One's brushed, one's brushless. It's going to be cool. All right, let's go ahead and get this guy open. The boxes are pretty much the exact same, so I'm not even sure which is which. Well, that's cool looking. So we got the blue and the red. Blue. Get this guy out of here. It's not even strapped down. They're usually strapped down. Some body clips. All right, we'll go through it. Let's get everything out of the box, then we'll go through it. We did pick these up on Temu. So check out the Temu app if you can snag up these same guys. Kind of wish there was a foam on that steering wheel, but we'll survive. That's it. Oh, you know what? It says right there, we got the blue A, and that means the other box is the B Pro. This model is the Q130. It's made by JJRC. That's the company that manufactures these. No label anywhere on here for the manufacturer, but JJRC is the name. And here's some more info here. The Pro comes with the brushless, but they're all metal transmission, metal drive shaft, ball bearings throughout, steering engine, steering servo. ESC, they're probably 2-in-1s, metal diffs, and then a wheelie bar. Some more stuff there. All right. Here's your basic little instruction manual. In a bunch of different languages, but here you go. Looks like there's a bunch of other models, probably all using the same platform. Box of goodies. Looks like we got a front bumper. This is a second, just like a replacement front bumper. It looks like it. Let's get it out of there. So there's our manual. And we'll put links down in the description to Temu, like I said, where we snagged it. One of the things on Temu, though, is that there's a bunch of different sellers. It's kind of like Amazon, all selling the same stuff. So you can really kind of shop for pricing and try to find the best price. I think our brushed one was around 60 and the brushless one was like 110, something like that, maybe 105. I can't remember exactly. But they go all the way up to like 150 for the brushless and like 80 for the brush. So just shop around a little bit, try to pay attention to where you're buying from, and also make sure you know which one you're getting, whether you're getting the Q130b, the brushless, or the brushed, because some of them show a brushless motor, some of the listings show a brushless motor, and it's the brushed version. So just be very aware when you're shopping on there for these that you got to know exactly what you're picking up. Just because, like I said, they kind of show the same pictures for all of them, even if it's a brushed or brushless. Usually just look at the model number. The B, 130B, brushless. 130 without the B, not brushless. So yeah, looks like we got two different kinds of bumpers here. That's interesting. So that's cool. USB charger, I would recommend a hobby grade charger. It's like a replacement wheelie bar bumper or front bumper, kind of squishy bumper thing here. Some shock collars and extra body clips. Shock collar to preload the shocks a little bit. And some extra screws. So cool, comes with some extra stuff. Extra little tool there. The bodies are covered in like a clear plastic, like the protectant. Actually says it right there. There's a plastic protective film on this car shell. So you can peel that off or leave it on. We're probably going to leave it on. Try to see if we can get this yellow sticker off. That way it'll help keep the body protected a little bit here if we keep that plastic film on it. Oh, it's going to tear right off. Bummer. Well, I guess we're taking this off. I hate it when they do that. They put the screws through the film. You got to try to peel it out. Oh, that looks nice, though. Yeah, this is the part that kind of sucks is when you got to peel it out from underneath the plastic bits they put on there. Ugh, I hate that. All right, we're going to get this off here, and then we'll be back. All right, we got all the protective film off. This thing looks so good. This is part of the reason I wanted to snag this guy up, is just because they look awesome. They are kind of heavy, though. I think the body is probably pretty heavy. There's a lot of injection molded interior and roll cage and whatnot, but it looks great. Also, the spares, like dual spares on the back. Tires are a little stiff. They're a little stiff. Maybe they'll get broken in a little bit. We'll see. They definitely feel hard. You hear that? We can always swap those out if we want to. Another thing I'm noticing right off the bat, it's very bouncy, so no oil dampened shocks, but I almost wonder if they can be oil dampened. Maybe they just need oil added. Another thing is you're not getting full compression out of these shocks at all. You hit the body, so we might have to end up trimming the body, unfortunately, to get full compression. But it looks awesome. I love the way it looks. They claim it's a so it depends on the listing you look at. Some say 116, some say 114. It's closer to a 114 probably. Yeah, probably 114. Body clips, I kind of wish they came with tethers. Some of the other manufacturers that make this kind of stuff, they have little tethers on them so that you don't have to lose the body clips when they get popped out or when you're changing the body out on the field. You pull out a body clip and it drops in the grass. Looks like we got lights in there. So let's go ahead and plug this guy in real quick. Looks like we have a Dean's plug here. Actually, we need batteries in the remote. Let's do that. Transmitter runs 3 AA's. Doesn't feel bad. Just kind of wish I had a foam wheel, but there's a little one-handed steering nub there. Looks like we have a channel 3. This is maybe a channel 4. Oh, high, medium, and low. So that's the speed probably. Speed dual rate maybe here. Or trim. Not sure. Steering reverse, steering trim. So fairly simple, obviously. A little ready to run. Entry grade. Let's go ahead and plug this guy in. Turn it on. All right. Got lights, so that's cool. Definitely dig the lights. Front light bar, inner cab light bar, and some rear lights. Is there a brake light there? Let's see. Kind of hidden. No brake light. What's our channel 3 do? Anything there? Channel 3 here. Front lights flashing. On, off. Well, on, flash. Super flash and off. The rear is always on this though. Yeah, these bodies are kind of heavy. It's a heavy body. We'll weigh it here in a minute. It would have been nice if this was an actual brake light. All right, let's look closer. And we'll bring out the brushless brother, the Pro version. This guy does come with a different transmitter, slightly different here. Comes with a nice foam wheel. So I do like that. Your buttons and your throttle limiter are silver. Other than that, it's the same. A little bit brighter silver here. Same thing though, but I do like the foam. Feels better for sure. And it's colored brake rotor, which is weird. You would never actually color the brake rotor. You color the brake caliper, but probably not the rotor. Either way, looks cool. Feels a little better with the foam. Go ahead and open this guy up here. And there we have it. One brushed, one brushless. Got our little warning hot. Nice that it comes with a little heat sink for the brushed motor. The brushless does not have a heat sink. The ESC does. And that's funny that the brushed ESC does not have a heat sink. So heat sink, but not heat sinks. Same everything else though. Looks exactly the same. Oh, you know what? The servos are different because this one has a 3-wire servo and this one has a 4-wire servo, which means you're not going to be able to do a standard upgrade on this. If your servo goes out on the brushed version, you're going to have to use basically the same servo they offer, unless you can find a 4-wire servo that fits the size you need. So that's unfortunate. This does use a standard 3 though, so you can put a much upgraded servo in there, you know, from your standard companies that make micro servos. Same battery though. Let's see. This guy is a 7.4 1300 milliamp lithium ion battery. I do like that it's, is this metal or is it just painted? I can't tell if this is metal or if it's just painted red. I think it's just painted red. I don't think it's actually metal. Magnet. No. Although if it's aluminum, it wouldn't be magnetic anyway. Oh, maybe it is metal. No, it is. I can see it. See the little chip in the paint there. Well, that's good. These shocks, though, man, we're going to open these up and see if we can oil fill them. I doubt it, but I hear that you can use WL Toys shocks on here, and I'm sure there's other shocks you could probably fit on here that would probably work well. Some of the new, smaller basher-style trucks from some of the other companies would probably work just fine on there. We'll open them up anyway and show you what's going on in there. I do like the brushless motor on this guy for sure, but you are paying extra for that, obviously. It comes with a 4,000 kV. Yeah, 4,000 kV motor here. And both ESCs are 2-in-1 combos. So if you want to upgrade your remote, you also have to upgrade your ESCs for these guys, or vice versa. If you want to upgrade your ESC, you're also going to have to upgrade your remote. But again, that's kind of to be expected from a entry-level RTR. And the tires feel a little stiff. The plastic on the body mounts is a little flexible, which I guess that could be good as long as it doesn't break, right? Because on a basher, you don't want things to be too rigid because they will break. Our A-arms, pretty flexy. A lot of people like to upgrade stuff with aluminum, but in a basher, that's not necessarily what you want to do because aluminum will bend and it doesn't exactly go back the way it's supposed to. Whereas the plastic, kind of flexy. You're not going to break that. As long as your everything stays kind of where it's supposed to, the flexibility is not a big deal. It's actually a benefit. Especially like in the body posts, right? Seems good. Here's the underneath of the body. Got some lights. Looks like the front light and the light bar is on one, and then the rear light bar is on another. So if you wanted to swap them, you could. If you wanted the rear light to be on the switch for flashing and turning it on and off, you could set that if you'd like, and then put the fronts so they're always on. Also, I just noticed the light bar is actually underneath the Lexan. It's clear, right? The Lexan, this is all part of the Lexan body, even the fans and the lights behind it. So they just didn't paint that. So that's cool. And kind of weighty just because of all this hard plastic injection molded interior. But it looks great. And these tires, you know, they're kind of heavy. All metal drivetrain though on the Pro. So you got the metal axles, axle shafts, CVDs. Look at that. And your center drive shaft in there, metal. This guy, center drive shaft is also metal, but your axle shafts are plastic. CVDs are U-joints, and they're plastic as well. I'm curious what the diffs look like. Are the diffs in there plastic? I don't know. All the hardware on here is Phillips head hardware, so be aware of that. There's no hexes on here. It's all Phillips. But I wanted to get one of each, the brushed and the brushless, just to kind of compare the speed difference and what comes different on the Pro. I think just even off the bat, the Pro, if you can get it for around 110, it's probably worth the upgraded servo, at least the servo plug on the ESC, and metal drive shafts. Maybe I do need to open up this portion here and just take a look in there and see if we can see. It looks like it's only 4 screws, plus probably have to pull off the front. We'll do that here in a minute, and we'll open up the shocks here in a minute. All right, we're going to go ahead and pull off the wheels. That's interesting. It's a screw, not a nut. That's interesting. Let's measure these hexes. Yeah, 12 millimeter hex. So you can put 12 millimeter wheels on there. These days don't have any foams in them either. Let's see here. What's going on? Does this just pull out? Yeah, it just pulls out. That's an interesting hex. I'm curious if the metal is the same on the Pro. We do have bearings still in this guy though. And I can swap the shocks if I want. I'll put the red shocks on the Pro. These are the same length. I'll take the fronts off here, put them on the rears of the Pro. That way the shocks are all red. Maybe we'll do that. Metal ball joint in there, so that's good. This top one seems plastic though, so that's interesting. I don't know why I'm using this. Huh. So it looks like the screw is only there to keep the A-arm from popping off the ball joint, because the A-arm just is still snapped onto the ball joint here. And it looks like it's molded into the knuckle. So, yeah, interesting. All right, well, the bottom one is metal. Looks like the Pro is all metal on these guys. The whole knuckle is metal, everything. It's even kind of captured here. Look at that. Like a captured piece. I guess it's like that on the plastic one as well. Okay. All right, we got our shock out here. Pop our spring retainer off. Pull our spring out. Hopefully this unscrews. Oh, I don't know. I did notice there are a lot of upgrades. There are some aluminum upgrades on the different Chinese sites. If you wanted to upgrade some of the stuff on these, you could. There's also replacement parts. It's the best way to try to get this off without damaging it. Probably not like this. So I actually don't think these things come apart. I did have this spring retainer here. And it looks like a pin. I wonder if this just the pin pushes through and this slides out. Let's try. Oh, yeah. Yep. So yeah, shocks cannot really, they can't be oil filled. Or you wouldn't. They would just leak right out. So definitely disappointing to have non-dampened shocks. If they just spent a little more to make dampened shocks, or even they don't even have to put the oil in there, just give us some shocks that we can oil fill. I think that'd probably make this thing a lot better. We'll see. My guess is when we run it, it's going to be bouncy as hell. All right, go ahead and put this back on. Before we put these back on, I'll go ahead and measure them for you. That way, if you want to get some upgrades, you can. Center eye to center eye looks right at 64 millimeters. So any 64 millimeter shocks that are running, this is probably an M2, M25, you'll be good to go. 64 millimeters, M25 that are meant for bashing or off-road racing type springs. Obviously, you don't want to use crawler springs. They're probably way too soft. But maybe, I don't know, get creative. All right, let's put this back on. All right, let's try to open up the back here, see if we can see the pinion and the spur and the diff. All those goodies, see if they're plastic or metal. There's some long screws. The spur is plastic. Oh, this looks like it's a solid piece. Okay. Well, that's nice. You can remove just one side if you need to get to the motor and pull all that out. So that's good. Does this guy just wiggle out? Yeah, this guy just wiggled right out. All right, so plastic spur. That makes me sad. That makes me wonder if the diffs are actually plastic in there too. Now, the manual does have all the exploded views and everything in here. It also has the other models. Here's the diff right there. Wonder how much of that is plastic. Can't tell from those pictures, but you can see how it's in there. I believe there's a parts list. Yeah, there you go. Parts list in the back for all the different parts. Like I said, you can get a lot of metal upgrades as well. But there's the diff. It looks like it's probably plastic. That's my guess. Some cool bodies, though. That's for sure. LEDs. So I went and pulled out the two more screws in the back here, and I think this whole assembly will just kind of lift off. Yep, it sure does. And yes, plastic diffs in there. So keep that in mind. Does come apart very easily, though. I dig that. Literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws, and you kind of open that up. You probably want to pull the shocks off, but then you could really take the whole thing apart. Kind of curious on the Pro, see if the Pro is the same way. So we'll open that up too, and we'll let you know. Oh man, we're looking promising. Metal gears in there. Let's keep going. Ooh, buddy, look at that. Metal diffs. I think that alone makes the Pro probably worth it. I mean, obviously the brushless, metal diffs, replaceable servo, metal axle shafts and CVDs. The rears are dog bones, but man, I think that's good. Good stuff there. And it's all nice and greased up in there. Yeah, buddy. So one thing I noticed while we ran it around the first time is it's kind of crunchy in here in the front. I can kind of I don't know if you can hear that. I'll put it by the mic. It's a little crunchy. So I think the diffs, the rear is not so bad, but we kind of messed with it. So let's go ahead and mess with the front. I'll show you what I did to the rear, and hopefully that'll fix it. Go ahead and pull our 3 screws out here. 2 screws out in the front. The other 2 screws, looks like we're going to have to pull the whole center pour out, so we should have just done that the first time. Let's go ahead and pull that off. So it looks like it's just the 5 screws to get the chassis brace off, 2 screws in the front here, and then there's 2 more screws down in here. Hopefully we can lift this off without having to pull the entire steering linkage apart. We'll see. So that's just going to lift right out. And then let's go ahead and get our shocks off. All right. And then this whole dealie, once we move this forward, should just lift right out. And we did lose our little pin here. So these two pins are what hold our steering linkage together here. So it's pretty simple. This comes apart without having to take out a bunch of screws. So that's nice. And there we go. We can pull that out. I'm going to go ahead and lift off one of these sides so we can fold this guy out here. Let's see. I'll take off this side, I guess. See, that knuckle doesn't look like it wants to come out very easily. This top of the arm, I'm sure it will, but I don't want to break it. Not right now. We'll wait till it actually breaks. I'll just pull out the A-arm from this side here. Put this guy back in here. That ball joint is just too tight for my comfort. I don't want to break it. So we'll go ahead and flip this guy out. From this side instead. Just want to give you a good look at the diffs and how the diff and drive shaft pinion is set up. Once you've got this kingpin screwed out, you can use some pliers to just pull it out. There you go. Put it in there. There we go. So there's our plastic diff. Again, the Pro is metal. Ooh, and that is crunchy. This is worse than the back was. So the back was similar. And all we did were loosen these screws just a little bit. Just like not even a full half turn. Just a little, just to get some pressure off of those. And now it's like so much more smooth. Compared to when they were tightened down, they were just crazy crunchy. I mean, that is rough. So we backed them off just a little bit. Like I said, maybe a quarter turn. Much better. Don't want them too loose though. If they're too loose, you'll probably end up breaking something in there, stripping stuff out. Get just tight enough to where you start to feel it have resistance in there. And eventually they'll break in too. So you don't want them, again, don't loosen them out too bad because you don't want things to strip. But you don't want them that tight. They're just way too tight. That was wild. Another thing is you want to make sure your mesh between your diff here and your drive shaft is good. You want to make sure there's a good mesh there. This is a part that is under high stress, so you definitely want to make sure that this stuff is meshed well and that you've got your teeth are engaging properly in here. Because if they don't, then you'll end up stripping stuff eventually. So definitely keep an eye out on that. You can always shim this forward if you need to off the shaft. You can basically lift this, and we can take this apart and really get in there better, but here, let's do this. Now you can see it a lot better. So if you lift out your shaft here at all, you can see your bearings and whatnot slide on here, and your pinion actually just slides onto the drive shaft. So if you ever need to adjust that, you can always try to shim it forward or trim it back. I wouldn't trim it back. More than likely you're going to shim it forward for any particular reason. But it's just pressed on there. So if you're worried that there's too much slop in there, which this feels pretty good, so we'll be all right. The rear was a little bit more sloppy. And I did stick a little O-ring in there. And I think that helped quite a bit. Just basically to slide the pinion forward just a tiny bit. Basically right between this bearing and this pinion, I stuck a little shim in there. It's actually an O-ring just to kind of move this pinion forward just the tiniest bit. I did that on the rear to help get rid of some of the slop that was in there. Because if you have too much slop, You run it hard, you'll end up stripping stuff. Anyway, we're gonna get this guy back together and we're gonna go run him again. All right, so we're all back together. It's a lot more smooth. You can actually just see it, right? Like it's smooth. And it's not even spinning the rears when I do it, because it's got nice diff in the front and then nice diff in the rear, right? Look at that. Okay. I'll show you some video here. I'll do a video real quick, a clip of before. These diffs are super tight. If you hold them in the rears, look at this. It's just like, you can hear it crunching in there. So we're probably going to open these guys up and figure out. You can hear it crunching. And they're so tight that when I spin one wheel in the front, the rear also spins, or vice versa. Well, the rear's a little looser than the front. But yeah. Crunchy. If you look at the Pro, it's much smoother. See that? That's what you want. So these are the metal diffs. Much, much better. Much quieter. Much smoother. Yeah. All right, I want to go ahead and weigh these guys. We'll start with the brushed one with all the plastic drivetrain. We're at 1.054 kilograms, so 1,054 grams. So 2 pounds, 5 ounces on that guy. And then the metal brushless, we're at 1,220 grams, 2 pounds, 11 ounces. Alrighty. I'm also kind of curious how we sit with our weight distribution. Now, mind you, this is without the batteries. I should put the batteries in, I suppose. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll put the batteries in. All right, batteries in this guy. Here's the brushed. Sitting right at, well, now 1,146 grams with a 42-48 weight distribution. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with these extra tires and wheels on the back. And again, all this is hard plastic, this back portion. The front, not so much, but back here is hard plastic. So definitely, yeah, once you take the body off, you're closer to a 50-50, 47-53 versus 42-58. And then on the metal brushless, we are at 1,300 grams with a 43-57. And again, if we remove the body, we get to 47-53. Alrighty. Just figured I'd show you guys. Well, there you have it, ladies and gents. I hope you enjoyed the video on these little guys. They're fun. They're good. They have a little bounciness to them. I'm sure you saw that in the video. That's really my main complaint, is just the shocks. I wish they were oil-filled shocks versus just friction dampeners. But the brushless version, this guy here, beast for sure. Plenty of speed, plenty of durability with all the metal drive shafts and metal diffs. I'd highly recommend, if you can find a good listing with a good price on this one. Again, we'll put a link down below to all the Temu stuff that we have. Again, doesn't mean you're going to get it from the exact same seller we got it from, because there's a bunch of different sellers, but definitely recommend the brushless one over the brushed. The brushed is fine, and again, if you can get it cheap enough, you're okay, but I just worry about the durability of some of the plastic diff and whatnot. However, they do have a good return policy, so if you ever buy either one and you have issues, a fantastic return policy. And there's always great deals going on Temu, so definitely worth checking out. And if you get one of those crazy coupons where you get like 40% off or something nutso, and you can get one of these guys for around 100 to 120, I think you're doing dang good. And if you can snag up one of these for 60, you might be okay. But definitely worth it from just a fun little street basher or a little off-road track trophy truck style basher. We're going to probably swap out the shocks on these guys, get some nice oil-filled shocks on there, and then probably trim the body a little bit so we get a little bit better travel, so we're not just banging on the body the whole time, because you don't get full compression. Other than that, though, the trucks seem awesome. The remotes are decent. The Pro version, the brushless version with the foam, is definitely nicer feeling. But again, it's almost twice the price. So it's basically two of these guys for one of these. But again, I think if you're looking for something that's going to rip and be durable, the brushless Pro version is definitely a better choice. Again, if you can find it for about 100 to 120, you'd be doing yourself a favor there. Anything more, and I think there are some other options out there you might consider looking at. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed checking out what these things have to offer. Again, this is one of our first purchases ever off of Temu, so figured might as well show it and tell you what they're about. So I hope that helps you if you are looking at any of these things. And yeah, I hope you get out there and build something awesome. Smash it, crash it, and bash it. Don't break the expensive parts. Build a car, build a course, build a community, all those awesome things. I want to give a huge shout out to all the channel members. Thanks a ton for being channel members, guys. They get to watch the videos before anybody else does. They also get behind the scenes footage every once in a while. We'll just shoot some kind of ad hoc video and just show what we've been working on lately. Fairly unedited, but it's behind the scenes, so it's kind of fun. Also, like I said, they get to see videos early with no ads on them. And yeah, they just help support the channel. So huge shout out to everybody that's a channel member. Thank you, guys. And then obviously all the subscribers and all of the viewers that we have. We wouldn't be here without every single one of you watching the videos. So appreciate your time, because I know time is important. It's a #1 commodity that we have in our lives. And for you to spend your time with me on the channel watching videos is just greatly, greatly appreciated. And yeah, can't say thanks enough. Get out there, guys, and do all those things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.